I'm Julia Nalivaiko and I was born in the USSR. When I was 6 years old, the Soviet Union collapsed. At age 12, I moved to the other side of the world. Ever since, I've been asked the same questions.
What's it like over there?
What's borscht?
Do they drink vodka like water?
Do bears roam the streets?
So now I'm going back to find the answers.
For many people, Ukraine is still synonymous with Chernobyl. As one of the worst nuclear catastrophes in history, it put Ukraine on the world map. But Ukraine's capital, Kiev, has been on the map for over a millennium. It was at the heart of the ancient state of Kievan Rus, the predecessor to modern-day Russia, Ukraine and Belarus. As one of the oldest cities in Eastern Europe, Kiev has a rich history reflected in its culture and architecture, a dynamic mix of historic, Soviet, and modern. And what more authentic way to see the sights than aboard a Soviet-era tram? Kiev is my home city, and in my admittedly biased opinion, one of the most beautiful in the Soviet bloc. Once outside the historic centre, my tour guide Valentina takes me to her favourite place in the city, Kiev's largest pet market. Known locally as the bird market, this is the place to shop for everything avian. And with a keen eye, you can even spot where McNuggets come from. But the market caters to all tastes, so you can find any pet your heart desires. And my heart desires a puppy. The USSR may be known for sending dogs into space, but in the Soviet days, people rarely had enough space for dogs. Due to the limited apartment size and low salaries of the era, cats were the pets of choice. Only in recent years, with an increase in disposable income, have dogs become popular in Ukraine. Sadly, some of these puppies will likely join the ranks of Ukraine's stray dog population. Attitudes towards dog ownership are still catching up with the times, and many dogs wind up on the streets. But dogs aren't the only ones on the streets in Ukraine. One of the country's major social problems is youth homelessness. This abandoned building in the centre of Kiev serves as a squat for a group of homeless kids. Youth worker Anatol is here on his weekly visit to check up on its occupants.
В принципе, мы ищем для них, то есть ищем те организации, которые могут им помочь, да, и стараемся перенаправить, стараемся войти с ними в коннект какой-то для того, чтобы наладить какую-то социальную связь, рапорт, да, соответственно, то есть стараемся им помочь. Они не верят никому, достаточно тяжело с ними работать. Они достаточно криминальные тоже, достаточно у них есть, они воруют. Но если к ним с открытым сердцем, с душой, то, соответственно, то есть они так же само к тебе и относятся. Это люди.
Anatol conducts his work through a private outreach program, since there is no national welfare system to protect children in crisis.
Мы сотрудничаем и с милицией, сотрудничаем и с органами тоже, которые власти, сотрудничаем с достаточно, то есть организациями, которые помогают. У этих организаций нет денег, у этих организаций нет социальных работников, у этих организаций другие задачи. Ну и, соответственно, то есть все равно-то дети остаются на улице, и все.
Я не знаю, я 6 лет на улице, я считаю себя сиротой. Как выросла по притулкам, на улице, по приютам, по больницам.
Социальная служба, которая занимается детьми, которая занимается, финансируется очень мало. Но финансируется, все равно мы питаем надежду о том, что это когда-то будет и все-таки когда-то произойдет. Нельзя жить, нельзя быть пессимистом.
It is estimated that there may be up to 200,000 homeless children in Ukraine, but it's a rough guess in the absence of more accurate information.
Бездомных детей, в Украине нету, ни по статистике, ни почему.
То есть никто не признает, что они там есть?
Ну, естественно. А на самом деле, то есть они есть, вот вам как бы пример. То есть того, не как работает просто украинская там страна там, или что-то в этом плане, а просто как, да, вот бывает те люди, которые сидят высоко в чинах, да, как, они далеко от тех людей, которые находятся на улице.
Да, я мучаюсь, действительно, что не готовим, не купаемся. Как может, так живу.
This high rate of childhood homelessness is a result of failing social and economic structures left over from the Soviet days. Exacerbated by the difficult transition of the past 20 years, Ukraine's economic instability has led to poverty, alcoholism and drug use, resulting in thousands of neglected children.
Пришла сюда, меня отец выгнал.
За что он вас выгнал?
Там пьяный был.
Большая семья,
Да, у меня 6 братьев. Он самый младший, Саша.
Саша, он был много раз в детских домах, его там избивают, бьют, он оттуда убегает, он не хочет туда ехать. Он дышит клеем. Кто с ним будет разговаривать уже после этого? Какой милиционер или какой-то будет ему объяснять, что дышать клеем это плохо? Он для них уже наркоман, потерянный ребенок. Наркомания на данный момент, в Украине, в Киеве, то есть, и, соответственно, вот такие дети процветают.
Они бухают, пьют, клей нюхают. А я этого не люблю. Хотя я и курю, но этого не люблю.
Эта проблема, она вот в постсоветском времени, да, очень такая актуальная. Сюда вот после, когда границы разрушились, да, еще в 91 году попали наркотики. Эта проблема имеет, то есть, очень большие такие последствия, для Украины, разрушительные. Очень много молодых людей употребляют наркотики. Соответственно, то есть, это прикрывается, то есть, большинство садится в тюрьмы, то есть, там, где это, в принципе, продолжается. То есть, отношение всего общества к этой проблеме. Просто если к наркотикам, к наркомании и к бездомным, вот таким детям относиться как к преступникам, они и будут ими становиться. Если относиться как к больным людям, которым в принципе нужна помощь и которые заслуживают эту помощь получить, независимо от своего социального статуса, то, соответственно, будет отношение меняться. И людей, наверное, меньше на улице будет и меньше употреблять наркотики.
But until the Ukrainian government acknowledges this problem, the kids can only rely on people like Anatol for help. When I was a kid, one of my favorite places in Kiev was Andreevsky Spusk, or Andrew's Descent. Named after St. Andrew's Church at the top of the hill, the Descent is a historic street which served as an artery of the city. Due to its steep incline, construction along the street was difficult and it remained uninhabited for centuries. But with an advance in construction methods in the 1600s, the first buildings began to appear. By the 19th century, it became the centre of Kiev's art community and took on a distinctly bohemian feel. A few years later, the bohemian atmosphere has turned a little more commercial, but it's still worth a visit. It's a compulsory tourist stop, but it's well loved by locals too. After After braving the steep climb, we're rewarded with scenic views of the city. With its many parks and gardens, Kiev is known for its greenery, and in the summer, it's in bloom. So the next day, I visit Kiev's annual flower show. This year, it's dedicated to Ukraine's Independence Day, celebrated on August 24th. Hundreds of thousands of flowers are used to create sculptures commemorating Ukrainian historical figures. There's even a cake, so there's nothing left to do but pop the champagne and let the celebration begin. Today is not just any anniversary. It marks 20 years since Ukraine separated from the Soviet Union, and Kiev is in party mode. The police are out in force, and the party is in full swing. The city's main street, Kreshchatyk, has been closed off to traffic and transformed into a playground. I head to the city's biggest square, Maidan Nezalezhnosti, or Independence Square. It was the site of the Orange Revolution, which put Ukraine in the international spotlight in 2004. I meet up with Valentina, who witnessed the revolution firsthand.
The revolution was about people just get disappointed in corrupted government, and they decided that together they want to do change, so they joined at Maidan, like few million people, and they managed to help opposition to come to rule, and they didn't do any improvement, and people were get very disappointed in them, and that's what we're dealing with now, just a great crisis of leadership.
Хочу наступний рік, річницю, провести не так, як цей рік, щоб було менше Беркута і щоб у нас був президент нормальний.
As part of the celebrations, a flash mob has gathered to publicly state their wishes for Ukraine's future.
А я хочу побажати українцям нарешті навчитися робити правильні вибори. Я хочу побажати чесної влади. Українці обираємо чесну владу.
Мои родители уехали из Украины в 90-х годах. Я хочу и пожелать, чтобы с нее не уезжали, а наоборот приезжали.
After adding my 2 cents worth, I join the mob in butchering the national anthem.
The richest people in Ukraine owns billions of dollars. They owners of the huge businesses, and they are involved in politics. Because here, without being involved in politics, you will be unable to protect your business. So people go to politics to just protect their possessions, not to improve our quality of life.
Political camps have become a semi-permanent fixture in Kiev. They're intended to rally support for Ukrainian politics, but in reality, they have the opposite effect on a cynical public.
People feel depressed and disappointed. I think it's leftovers of our Soviet mentality. People, with all their strength, they want to refuse any responsibility, because responsibility is causing us to make choices and to be able to deal with the consequences, and people don't like that. So, and in Soviet times we don't have choices, we didn't have chance to make choices, to make decisions, and people, there is a whole generation of irresponsible people who want others to decide for them.
Fortunately, the new generation is growing up outside of the Soviet bubble. They are free to have their own opinions and make their own decisions, and it will be up to them to steer their country in the right direction.
Historically, it's happened that we have like two countries in one. We have East and West, and East is very pro-Russian, West is very pro-European. And during the Orange Revolution, it showed we were actually almost at the edge of civil war. And this is very good for uniting those two sides, because they also get very disappointed in Yanukovych and his team. And this is like the great benefit. And I really hope that the next leader who will come, he will be strong but flexible enough to find the ways to the East and to the West, so people will follow and respect. So right now we are in the age of deciding where we want to go, or we go to Europe or we go with Russia. And I hope Europe understands that Ukraine is very valuable.
To find out just what value it holds, I consult with economics specialist John Queen.
Ukraine sitting in the dead center of Europe. It's a major breadbasket. It's the world's #1 sunflower oil exporter. You know, it's a top exporter in wheat and barley and grain. And Ukraine being dead center of Europe means you can export in all different directions to all different countries.
Despite its many possibilities, Ukraine's exact path for the future remains uncertain.
In the Soviet times there was a doll called Nevalyashka. It's kind of matryoshka, the round doll, which was you shaking it and it goes like this way and this way. And Ukraine is like that Nevalyashka. With every election it goes opposite direction. So nobody knows which course we will choose, like pro-European or pro-Russian. But this jumping from one way to another has a bad consequences for reputation and for economy.
What future role it plays with Europe and what future direction it takes in kind of the European markets is unclear. It will depend on what sort of trade agreements Ukraine comes into. But over the last 10 years, it slowly has been prospering. It's a matter of distribution of wealth. You know, who's prospering and whether it's trickling down to everyone versus just a few.
While Ukraine's bigwigs are defined by their wealth, attempts to define the country's direction are going around in circles.
The most dangerous thing, like we really don't know where we're going. We don't have strategy, we don't have vision how to overcome it. And people don't believe that they can do something about it. And that's sad. So we'll see, but we're really now at a very dramatic stage of our history, and I really wish to Ukraine to go through another renaissance, because we have a great potential.
And if this potential is to be realized, it will be with the help of people like Valentina and countless others who are the catalysts of social change in Ukraine. But today is first and foremost a party, and the vibe is distinctly festive. I'm heading back to Maidan, where the highlight of the celebration is about to begin, a concert headlined by megastar Ruslana. After winning the Eurovision Song Contest in 2004, Ruslana became an unofficial ambassador for Ukraine. She's campaigned for the opposition during the Orange Revolution right here on this square, so it's fitting that she's performing here tonight, on this 20th anniversary of independence. I'm eager to see what the future holds for Ukraine, but I hope the positivity and optimism present here tonight will stick around for the next 20 years. This is the Expo Center of Ukraine, or as it's known by its snappy Soviet name, the Exhibition of Achievements of the National Economy. I'm heading to the set of Ukraine's version of the talent show The Voice. Lucky for the audience, I'm not here to audition, but to chat with one of the judges, none other than Ruslana herself. Over the years, Ruslana's job description has included singer, producer, humanitarian, UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador and politician. But it was her convincing Eurovision win that catapulted her to fame. Your Eurovision win and the Orange Revolution happened in the same year. Do you think that you winning Eurovision gave people confidence?
I think so. I believe that my victory changed something in the mind of the people, in the heart, and maybe it was like push for this development. I think so.
And you were also really involved in the Orange Revolution. You were a spokesperson for the opposition. What was that experience like for you?
It was a great story during this year. 2004, it was year of Ukraine in the world. It was one of the great events in my life.
The film clip for Ruslana's song, Dance with the Wolves, recreates scenes from the Orange Revolution, but also features glimpses of real footage from the 2004 revolution.
I want to have the same atmosphere and the same situation maybe one more time, just one more time, because we had chance, but we do nothing to use this chance. Был период, когда люди очень разочаровались после оранжевой революции и, конечно, думали, что уже в политической ситуации ничего не поменяется, и так уже сказали все. Но я смотрю, сейчас потихоньку как бы ситуация, знаешь, как будто бы люди от шока, мы отходим все, потому что, конечно, после оранжевой революции из всего, что мы ожидали, не произошло ничего. Ровным счетом, ноль. Вообще, еще хуже, чем мы даже могли предположить. И мы сейчас отходим немножко от этого шока. И я думаю, знаешь, в Украине, если бы вот такая искра снова возникла, я думаю, это было бы еще круче, чем революция оранжевая. Это было бы, может быть, еще даже больше. Это массовее было бы, это было бы численнее. Это мои предположения. Но это всегда будет мирно. Украинцы, сколько тут нас уже не провоцировали, ничего, украинцы очень мирные люди. Мы бы хотели все-таки уже, наверное, спокойным, мудрым методом уже все, чтобы случилось. Потому что митинги тоже политики научились использовать в разных целях. Очень часто даже митинги финансируются, и уже не понимаешь, где правда, а где просто спектакль на улице.
But spectacle rules in reality TV, another Western contribution to Ukraine's cultural landscape. Watching the rehearsals for tonight's show, I wonder whether local artists have found their voice in the Ukrainian media. Ruslana's own music is heavily influenced by the ethnic sounds of her native Carpathian region in western Ukraine, especially her Eurovision winning song, Wild Dances.
Just maybe I'm crazy. The wolf been running, running, running.
All radio station in Ukraine, it's really strange situation. First of all, they play Russian music, they play European music, they play American music, and small part for Ukraine music. It's very strange for me why we have amazing ethnic music, amazing. Why? Maybe we remember Soviet Union music, maybe we remember, I don't know. We need change more things in the head, more. That is why I ask God, give us more chance, like Orange Revolution.
Being one of Ukraine's best-known exports, part of Ruslana's job is to represent her country. So what does she want the world to know about Ukraine?
Украина вообще, она не похожа ни на какую страну, это однозначно. Если вообще сюда приехать, мне кажется, они просто, люди откроют для себя вообще какой-то другой кусочек земли. Они не поверят, что есть такая страна большая, но настолько оригинальная по своей культуре и по всему, что им кажется, что это может быть там после Советского Союза какая-то часть. Нет, это не Россия, это не Польша, это не Турция, это не Азия и это не Европа, это Украина.
Ruslana is required on the set, and as I show myself out, I wonder if the next generation of stars will follow in her revolutionary footsteps.
Запрошуємо на вареники.
Вареники at Ruslana's house, everybody.
Yes! You know вареники? Да-да! Респект, респект.